All right.
Hello. This is MK.
And Ash.
And this is Highland. Today we are covering the greatest high school movie of all time, Heathers. And I'm very excited.
That's a pretty big statement.
That is a huge statement, and it's my personal opinion.
But I do think that Heathers is a very good movie. And it's also kind of similar in a way to Jennifer's Body.
It's kind of the blueprint.
It's kind of the blueprint. And I never really thought about it like that. But now that we already did Jennifer's Body and now we're doing this, I'm like, it's kind of the same idea. This even flopped when it first came out, and now it's a cult classic. There are definitely a bunch of parallels, and I guess we're just in the mood for this type of movie lately.
Yeah. Well, I think in the way that Jennifer's Body was really, smart and incisive about the time it was made, and, as a satire of
a dark comedy,
contemporary films, and a dark comedy.
Very
I think it's
quotable.
Extremely quotable,
really interesting,
wild dialogue,
complex female characters.
Precisely.
Some bitchy ones.
Yeah.
Some smart ones.
The only difference...
Some smart and bitchy ones.
Is that there's, a charming sociopath guy who's, a part of it. But I'm really excited to do this one.
In a way, Jennifer was the smart sociopath guy.
True. Jennifer was and that's feminism.
And that's feminism.
And that's feminism.
Okay, but I'm really excited to do this.
Yeah, me
movie.
too.
I've watched it a million times. And
Same.
I'm always down to rewatch it.
I actually haven't watched it in a while, but I've definitely watched it a significant amount of times. This is also
I have no idea when the last time I watched it was.
I feel like I watched this movie a lot with other people. I feel like it's an excellent sleepover film, Just sort of watch and talk and react together.
I could find out the exact day that I watched it last because that day I tweeted, Dear Diary, my teen angst bullshit has a body count. Which
Excellent.
is a line from the movie that I thought was hilarious.
It is.
So.
And the fact that this is also, to this day, Winona Ryder's favorite role she's ever had. And she's excellent in this.
And I feel like I could so see that. If Winona Ryder is anything the way I perceive her, which is basically my evil twin... this would be my favorite role too.
I do feel like you guys are probably similar people.
I think we are too. I meant to Google her.
And she was 15. She turned 16 while filming this. I had actually no idea what was going on in the world when I was 16. At all.
Yeah.
Damn.
To be able to recognize this as what it is.
Yeah.
Because she seemed to have, a very good grasp on what this movie was trying to do. We, were looking at, interviews and stuff.
Yeah, and, an oral history of Heathers.
It just seemed like she had a very good grasp on what the movie was about and what it was trying to do. And to have that insight at 16, I definitely didn't have that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting because this movie came out, I think it was made in 88 and came out in 89, in 1989, and I think it's a really interesting, I'm trying consciously to stop saying, I want you to know that I'm trying really hard, but it's a response to the cultural zeitgeist and sort of, the Reganite, greed is good, John Hughes era that was, very straight-laced and, white, and you want to be a yuppie professional, you're aspiring to be yuppie professional on Wall Street, and are playing by the rules, and it was very much, the cool kids were, the straight-laced, cheerleaders, jocks, or whatever.
Is, glamorizing, I guess, that way of acting and that way of life.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're only looking at the good aspects of being like that, but you're not looking at, the ugly underbelly of what happens when people act like this, and people act selfish, and people act greedy.
Yeah, individualism.
And individualism, and this is looking
capitalism.
At, the ugly underbelly.
And it's also an interesting transition into the 90s, where all of a sudden the cool kids aren't the jocks and cheerleaders per se. It might be the more rebellious or intellectual grungy kids who go and smoke cigarettes behind the school, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something I think about. And also, yeah, because it's, you know, Winona Ryder is the 90s. So.
She is the moment.
She was the blueprint.
She was the blueprint. She's my blueprint, fully.
Yeah. Who the hell's mine?
I've been trying to lean into my Winona Ryder similarities. The only similarity being that we both have,
you have the same haircut.
A black bob.
Yeah. Well,
but that's enough like for
curly
me.
And wavy. No,
I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with it.
I think you have the same energy for sure.
Yeah,
Aesthetic, whatever. Yeah.
She's a little bit, like, boyish.
Yeah.
No, rough around the edges.
Lanky.
A
little moody, very funny.
Let's say more cool things about me.
No, the sad thing is, I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of the fictional characters or whatever who I resemble, and it's literally just Phoebe from Friends and Luna Lovegood, and
okay,
it doesn't sit right with me.
More than Winona than anything, I resemble Elio from Call Me By Your Name, so...
No, that girl from that Hulu show, Everything's Gonna Be Okay, is exactly... Guys, you need to watch this show, if only to, like,
to see this girl that is literally me.
She's a middle school girl.
She's a middle school girl, like... she's, like, very skinny, very pale, like, has a black bob,
funny.
Like, a bigger nose, kind of jack teeth. And she's so cute. She's so cute.
Stop it.
But everything she says, I've literally said things that she says on the show word for word. Like, she's just so... I don't even know how you would describe her. It's just, like, the things that she said has been...
What's the show called? Everything's Gonna Be Okay?
Everything's Gonna Be Okay, I think.
And what's the girl's name? Guinevere or...
Genevieve.
Same shit.
Same shit.
All right, let's start the film.
Yeah.
Wait, is there any other context, maybe... Oh, the guy who wrote it was, like, a film school graduate, 24, worked at a video store, which I think is very cool.
I love that type of shit.
And people, I don't know, reading the Wikipedia, it's like, oh, it had a measly $3 million budget. And whenever I hear stuff like that, it's like, this was the 80s, so you have to account for inflation. So I don't even know what $3 million would be in today's dollars.
$3 million, that's
definitely
a lot.
More. Yeah, that's a ton of money. It reminds me of when I was talking to a professor about wanting to make a movie, like a feature length, and he was like, yeah, you just want to make this with your friends and have it be, like, a small budget as possible, like, $100,000, right? And
that's
I was like,
thing, yeah.
No, and it's just insane, because where am I going to get the money for it?
Short films are, like, 20,000. Like, 10,000 would be, like, on the lower side. Isn't that crazy?
Insane.
I did one for $50.
$50. Yeah, but my jaw dropped when my professor said that. I was like, where do you think I'm going to get $100,000 from? Straight up.
He thinks you got that family money.
That NYU
NYU family money.
It's just not the case.
We are not that girl.
I'm not that girl.
Okay.
What else context? Yeah, so that was that. Oh, and that they didn't originally want to cast Winona Ryder for Veronica because they didn't think she was pretty enough, which
is ridiculous. She was beautiful.
It is actually insane. These people are on crack. And also, but I think the 80s standard of beauty was
different.
Very... It was basically blonde, blue-eyed, white... thin, then also, like,
they were casting
curvy.
Molly Ringwald as, like, the nerd in every movie.
Yeah, good point.
Who has, like, a very... Winona Ryder also, though, has a very conventionally pretty face. Are we making points? I don't know.
I don't know, but we continue. Still, we
fight on.
We fight on. Yeah, Daniel Waters said, who's the writer... The teen films of the time, the John Hughes film, were fun, but there's a whole other wing of the high school they weren't going into, the dark Stephen King wing that nobody wanted to look at. And I think Heather's was refreshing. It was the first time a lot of people lost their dark humor virginity. It's hard to even remember now that going back then, there were so many television shows and documentaries about the horror of teen suicide that just made it attractive to commit suicide because you got all this love and adulation. Who can resist? It seemed like I was the only one noticing the humor in it. The actual first line I wrote was, "You can't use that knife, it's filthy," when Veronica and JD are going to stage Heather Duke's suicide. It took off from that. Very interesting. And this was something we were talking about, I don't know if we recorded, in terms of Jennifer's body, the way that people get really weird in the wake of tragedy.
Yeah.
And death, especially deaths of young people in small communities.
Yeah, it is very interesting because there's an element of course, we're all mourning and it is very sad and it, you know, it makes you think about your mortality and you never want to see a young life cut short. But then there's also a side where people are fascinated by tragedy and, whether subconsciously or consciously, people think, how does this... They make it about themselves, you know? And...
Oh, totally. And it's so romanticized.
And it's romanticized. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, there's a real thing where when there's suicide contagion, that people will all, like, whether it's because... I don't know, what do you think that is? Because I don't know if it's necessarily... I mean, I think part of it is that you see how people react to suicide, and when someone else commits suicide, it's like you're remembered fondly, like people are picking out your best memories.
I think that's part of it.
People are mourning you, and there is something attractive to being mourned, but you also obviously are dead.
It's like you're not going to be around. You're not going to be around for that. Yeah,
exactly.
You're not. But I think it's that,
stupid as shit,
and then also the element of the same thing where they're finding if they educate young people about eating disorders like anorexia, bulimia, in, say, health class in middle school, that actually perpetuates it because you're putting the idea, you know that it's a thing, you know it's an option.
Yeah.
I think that could be part of it as well. In the Romantic era, when even was that? I guess this was late 1700s, early 1800s. Let me Google it because I actually don't want to be wrong. There was a trend of sort of young artists, poets, killing themselves, like young men. And there was this guy who was a writer and none of his work was really that popular. And he got in trouble because he forged a ton of, like, historical documents that, like, weren't real. And so then he, like, ate cyanide and killed himself. Oh, and then afterwards, his work got super popular. And all of these artists did, like, 1 billion portraits of him killing himself.
That's horrible, though.
Yeah, so bad. The Romantic era was from 1800 to 1890. Okay.
Yeah, but isn't that like, that's an aspect of it when you want to kill yourself, like, not that I've ever wanted to kill myself, I would never, but...
It's not her. Man, what is that man's name?
But it's like an aspect of, you know, thinking about what will my family, like, I don't know. It's really dark. It's like, really dark, but you think about how people
literally the Jaden Smith,
you think about how people
George
react.
Sterling was the guy's name. No. He wasn't.
George Sterling is something else.
I remember he had red hair. Romanticism, cyanide, red hair.
God.
Well...
Ariana Grande came up.
Alright, well, I don't know, so... Sorry about that. But that's
really interesting.
Oh yeah, because
people are fascinated by death.
It's the Jaden Smith, when I die, then they will realize
They will realize.
And it's this weird conflicting thing, because obviously our base instincts tell us, like, stay alive, you know, at all costs. But then there's also that death drive. Everyone has a little bit low-key.
And I don't even understand, because now looking back, I'm like... Your family would be ruined forever. Oh my god, I just spit out my drink. Because it's true. But it's true, like, you don't, like, you're changed for good after someone in your life commits suicide. Like, you are never the same, and you live with this fear of it someone else being taken away from you because it's that awful to experience.
Yeah.
And the fact that I would ever think, like, it was not a good idea, but it was even possible to put my family through something like that, like, I was a sick fuck for that. I was literally mentally ill, so, she has that.
Do you think having gone...
I hope none of this is offensive, like...
Well, no, because it's like you are someone who...
I went through it, so
yeah, you've like, lost someone
just saying
who died by suicide, so it's like this is your own experience, and also having lived through your own suicidal ideation.
Whatever jokes I make, it's a coping mechanism, love. Let me have it.
So the movie opens with 3 girls in sort of matching blazer, skirt, 80s moment thing, and they're playing croquet,
I think.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. And it's all like color coded, and they're playing it, and they're in this really nice lawn, and
with little statues around.
Statues, and
they walk through. They're crushing
flowers,
like, you know, the planted garden flowers.
It just is giving me like aspirational, wealthy, like reganite vibes, and I know that I'm probably going to say the word reganite like 500 times during this.
In Jennifer's body, I said the word patriarchy 500 times, so...
And that's okay, and if you don't like it...
version.
If you don't like it, then tweet us at Highland Pod.
We've picked our struggle. Get over it.
We picked our struggle. And then Veronica, who... All of the girls, their names are Heather, because they're referring to each other as Heather. But there's one who has the blondest hair, and she's... obviously the one in charge, and then they're hitting the croquet bars, and then balls, and then it goes, and then Veronica, it's the first time we see her head is literally
her head is just sticking out of the ground, like it's just...
Yeah, like...
I don't know it's
how
really
to
weird.
Describe it.
It's surreal, but yeah, just her head is out, and she gets hit in the head with the main Heather's croquet ball. So...
It's a gorgeous opening scene.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It really right away establishes the dynamic between the Heathers and Veronica.
Which I feel like I can relate to a little bit of being... This was more like my middle school experience, because in high school I sort of just lost my mind. But... of like hanging out with the popular girls, but not really being one of them, but being sort of a lackey, or almost feeling like a side character in everything, if that makes sense. Defo feel that.
But Veronica's relationship with them is so interesting, because it's almost like she's a part of it and she wants to be popular, but at the same time, she, like, despises them and everything that they stand for. So it's
right.
Makes you ask, why are you even doing it? But this is... I guess it goes back to the Reaganite thing that you're saying, is that's what you're told you're supposed to do in the life you're supposed to lead, and what's right. And then Veronica essentially goes against all of that. In a violent manner.
In a very violent manner.
But...
Oh, yeah, and it's... Okay, well, I want to be popular because I don't want to be shit on by them, and I don't want to be bullied by them.
Yeah.
So I have to go along to get along, but secretly I think that they're full of shit, and that's sort of what... It almost reminds me of, say, you are working in the corporate world or whatever, but you know that the ways in which capitalism is a scam, but then at the same time it's like, I still want a paycheck so that I can...
And you also tell yourself, I'll make it better from the inside.
Right, which you're not.
And Veronica does, in her own way, try to make it better from the inside. But obviously it doesn't work because she has none of the power. The Heathers have all the power, and they wield that power. Especially the main Heather.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I do not know their last names.
Dear Diary, Heather told me she teaches people real life. She said, real life sucks losers dry. If you want to fuck with the Eagles, you have to learn to fly. I said, so, you teach people how to spread their wings and fly? She said yes. I said, you're beautiful.
God, come on, Veronica.
What is your damage, Heather?
Don't blame me. Blame Heather. She told me to haul your ass into the caf pronto. Back me up, Heather.
Yeah, she really wants to talk to you, Veronica.
Okay, I'm going. Jesus Christ. Hello, Heather.
Veronica, finally. I got a note at Kurt Kelly's. I need you to forge a hot and horny but realistically low-key note in Kurt's handwriting, and we'll slip it onto Martha Dumpchuck's lunch tray.
Shit, Heather, I don't have anything against Martha Dunstock.
You don't have anything for her either. Come on, it'll be very. The note will give her shower nozzle masturbation material for weeks.
Think about it.
Don't think. Veronica needs something to write on. Heather, bend over. Dear Martha, you're so sweet.
I'm telling you, man, it would be so righteous to be in a Veronica Sawyer, Heather Chandler sandwich.
Oh, hell yes. I want to get a Heather and put her on my Johnson and just start spinning around like a goddamn pinwheel. Punch it in.
Hello, Jason Dean.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings
and salutations.
You a Heather?
No, I'm a Veronica. Sawyer. This may seem like a really stupid question.
And there are no stupid questions.
You inherit $5 million the same day aliens land on the Earth and say they're gonna blow it up in 2 days. What do you do?
That's the stupidest question I've ever heard.
Who's that guy in the coat think he is, anyways? Bo Diddley? Veronica's into his act, no doubt.
I don't know, probably row out to the middle of a lake somewhere, bring along a bottle of tequila, my sax, and some Bach.
How very.
Come on, Veronica.
Later.
Definitely.
Let's kick his ass. Shit, Ram. We're seniors, man. We're too old for that kind of crap. Let's give him a good scare, though.
You gonna eat this?
And what did your boyfriend say when you told him you were moving to Sherwood, Ohio?
Answer him, Dick.
Hey, Ram, doesn't this cafeteria have a no fags allowed rule?
Well, they seem to have an open door policy for assholes, though, don't they?
What did you say, dickhead?
I'll repeat myself.
God, they won't expel him. They'll just suspend him for a week or something.
He used a real gun. They should throw his ass in jail.
No way. He used blanks. All JD really did was ruin 2 pairs of pants. Maybe not even that. Can you bleach out urine stains?
You seem pretty amused. I thought you had given up on high school, guys.
Never say never.
Just 2 thoughts. Go. No, I think that Martha, they're antagonizing this girl, Martha, who is fat and just minding her own business, and they're trying to forge... Oh, Veronica Sawyer has a talent for forging handwriting, which will obviously come into play later. And Heather... Let's call her Red Heather, because I think it's Heather Chandler, but I'm not sure. Red Heather is like, forge a note to Martha, pretending you're this, like, popular boy, and Veronica's like, no, I don't want to. I don't have anything against her. And then Red Heather is an authoritarian about it and is...
Says you don't have anything for her either.
Yeah. She's like, do it.
So, I think they ultimately do it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, she does it. And then they leave the note on the thing.
Well, it's the weird thing also where she has green Heather. She says, bend over to have Veronica write on her back. Mm-hmm. And it's the weird thing where the person in power manipulates you by being worse to someone else around you. You know? So it's like, it's elevating to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And
then it gets you on their side because you're like, okay, well, at least it's not me.
Precisely.
That's when you know you shouldn't be friends with this person.
No, fully.
If you've ever had the thought, well, at least it's not me. Oh, good thing I'm on their good side today.
Fully.
Don't be friends with that person.
But
don't do it. Don't do it. Is that all you want to say?
And JD, Christian Slater playing JD, is looking at Veronica in this scene, keeps cutting to him, and it's like he's intrigued and is like, who is this person? And almost sees something in her that other people don't, where there's more to her than that she's part of the popular girl clique, I guess, is what I thought was cool. What?
I don't even know if, like, that's...
You disagree?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you disagree?
Well, not even that I just disagree with that. I think that there's two thoughts that I have about it. It's, like, that's such an irritating trope to me. Like, when the boy sees a girl and he's like, there's something special about you. I'm like, well, what about these other bitches? Like, there's nothing special about them? Like, shut the fuck up. I just think it's, like... so sexist, and it's like this boy has the ability to tell you that you're different and then like you're better than every other girl. It's like so demeaning to other girls, and I just find it irritating because then obviously you want to be the different girl, you want to be the girl that like the heartthrob goes after.
Oh, of course.
But it pits other girls against each other. It pits girls against each other. And I'm talking about, like, in real life. And it makes you think that you're not good enough to be the cool girl in a movie. So I just have a irritation with that trope in general. Which is not even necessarily what I think this is doing. I think that he thinks that she is... One... Maybe it's that he thinks that she's as messed up as he is, but also that he thinks that he can manipulate her. Because he ultimately manipulates this girl.
100%. And I think him looking at her, what I'm saying is...
She never even wants to kill anyone.
Right. And there's something more to her, I think, the fact that she actually doesn't have the mean streak in the way that the other Heathers do, and maybe notice that she isn't as comfortable in the group, therefore that's an insecurity.
Therefore manipulatable.
Exactly, manipulatable.
So I think he sees that I can manipulate.
And I get excited in situations where people are like, oh, you're different, like, you're not like other people. And then, obviously, you're going to fail to live up to their, like, fantastical expectations. 100%.
Yeah. And it's also just so, like, jam-packed with... so much bullshit to tell someone like, oh, you're not like other girls.
Literally, my mom
to have that
today.
mindset like you're not like other girls. I'm like, that's so just jam packed with like misogyny.
Yeah,
the patriarchy.
The patriarchy. Heard
no,
of it.
but I think that's just like such a toxic thing.
Yeah,
it's like we are all individuals. Every girl is worth something simply because they're a human being.
Of course,
you know?
Intrinsic human value. I mean, I think that.
And that's on intrinsic human value.
No one is any better or any worse than anyone else. However.
And I know that you never meant that. I just have my own gripe
totally.
with that. And I've always felt like it bothered me because I feel like I've always been as an impressionable young teenager,
Yeah.
I felt personally victimized by that trope.
Yeah.
Like,
did people make you, like, the cool girl different than other girls?
no, I wanted to be, I always felt like I would never be that girl that was, like, different. Like, you know, like the Peyton Sawyer, if you've ever watched One Tree Hill. Have you ever watched
I've
One
never
Tree Hill?
watched One Tree Hill.
So she's, like, a popular girl, but, like, she's different. She's cool.
Someone
like, she's an
told me
angsty artist. She's an angsty artist. Oh my god, she's the coolest girl ever.
Love her.
But it's like her like her foil basically, like, you know, her
Yeah. I know what it
was this girl Brooke, who was then made to be like this ditzy, popular, rich, like
See, that's
slutty
the
girl.
thing. It's I am ditzy,
They
but
ended
I'm
up
also
developing
different.
her to be like a full ass human being. But in the beginning of this show, it was like basically comparing the girls and like pitting them against each other at points. So it was just a really toxic thing. And as a 13-year-old watching and wanting to be Peyton Sawyer, it was putting toxic ideologies in my mind.
But then also, okay, so I have many thoughts about this. Many thoughts, head full. I think when you're attracted to someone in, like, more than a physical way, in a crushy way, you look at them and you think, oh, you're different from everyone else, like, regardless of gender. But then, if you bring that into, oh, you're different from other girls, then you need to come up with some sort of, like, dichotomy between the other girls who are stupid and shallow or whatever versus the other thing, where I think maybe if it's a girl who is crushing on a guy who, and you think, oh, you're different from everyone else, it's not about gender or, you know, that you aren't falling into, like, X gender stereotype. It's, you're different from everyone else. You're special. And I like you because of it, which I think is...
Wow.
Right?
That's Tay.
So it's if you can divorce gender from it, you can say you're different from everyone else. I like you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to put down
it's like
anyone
almost
else.
a romantic thing.
Right.
So, and I just think that's interesting because Veronica sees JD as different from everyone else. So you think that's like an endearing thing when
he's different because he's a sociopath.
Well, yeah, it turns out he's a sociopath, but at first she thinks he's different because he's like cool.
Yeah. And also, as someone who's been the quote-unquote different person my whole life.
But also the other boys are, like, disgusting pigs.
Yeah.
Like, they're
definitely
much
caricatures in this.
Yeah.
Well, also something that I wrote down.
But I think that, Not Like Other Girls has more of a societal impact than...
Oh,
because obviously anything that will be... about girls is backed by years and years and years of oppression. So it doesn't really have that same punch when they do it to boys.
No.
But JD is definitely supposed to be contrasted with this, like, not even sexist. I mean, yeah, sexist, but more like horn dog boy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's really interesting that the girls, the popular girls in this movie...
I'm a horn dog too. You're not special.
You're no... I've never experienced sexual attraction my entire life. No, I think it's interesting that the boys, or the popular boys at least, are painted as very dumb and vapid or whatever, and the girls are these conniving, like, malignant,
smart,
evil geniuses.
Evil geniuses. That is very interesting.
Right?
That is very interesting.
It's almost
like you hate Heather Chandler, but you gotta sit back and be
vibes.
Like, you gotta sit back and be like, you are a boss bitch.
It's girl
100%.
And that's the problem with, like, the girl bossery brand of feminism or whatever, because it's, you can be powerful and intelligent and still not a good person, you know?
100%.
And if you're like, oh, we need more women CEOs, it's like, no, we don't. We really don't. We need less CEOs, period.
Yeah.
Obviously we need women to be in positions of power and to be respected, whatever, but let's not, like,
MK said it here first, do not give women high power jobs. Do not give them responsibility.
I was a huge misogynist. Oh,
No,
bleep
but
out my
you're
last
right,
name,
you're right.
please.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
problem.
I haven't decided on my stage name yet, so.
Oh, that's why? I thought it was like a safety precaution.
No, it's both. It's both. I'm joking. No, I don't want people, like, tracking me down. Not that any of you would, but.
There are crazy people on the internet. You know that.
Oh my gosh.
Remember when, this is totally not to do with anything, but remember when, like, internet security, when, like, the internet first started being a thing, like, internet security was, like,
OD.
a terrifying, like, the thought of putting your last name on,
anything,
even your, like, real first name was a horrifying concept. Like, I thought if I put my last name out there, I would be kidnapped the next day. The next day. They would
Honestly,
find me and they would kill me.
I remember.
And now I'm like, this is where I live. This is where I go to school.
Who wants to see my
Hit me
butthole?
up. I'm like, this is the picture of my ass. Like, I have no concept of. Of what can
honestly,
and can't be put
I remember
out.
it being a full thing, but I just didn't really take it that serious. I remember playing, like, Barbie Horse Adventure or something, or, like, Webkins, and my dad sitting me down and giving me this lecture, like, there's a bunch of weirdos out in the world, right? And you know that. You know that there's weirdos, stranger danger, but...
And you were like, yes, Dad, and I'm one of them.
Well, yeah. But I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because the school traumatizes you by giving you all that. And...
Fair enough.
Then he was like, well, you know that you face that if you go out in public and onto the street. When you go on the internet, that's letting the street into your house. That's letting the public into your own home.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, anyway, I don't really take that seriously. I have to pee really bad.
Yeah, go pee. Go piss, girl.
Go piss, girl.
So what happened?
Sorry, the microphone.
The opening scene. I'll repeat myself.
He is giving me
opening
serious Jack Nicholson vibes, and
that's what he was going for.
Yeah, that's what he was going for. He gave me Jack Nicholson vibes before I realized that he was going for a Jack
Honey,
Nicholson
I'm trying
vibe.
to get good audio. You're moving around.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just if you're
Okay.
gonna adjust, move, whatever.
Okay.
Just don't talk while you do it. and
Okay,
then
I'm
talk
adjusted. I'm adjusted. You're absolutely right, though. I apologize. I want you to leave this in so everyone knows.
It's not my fault, but
we're
just so poorly produced.
I'm like, the poor producing is like 90% because of me, and I want people to know this. Not even 99% because of me.
It's 100% because of you.
Okay, fair.
I'm kidding.
No, I'm saying that he gives me Jack Nicholson energy. I thought that from the first time I watched this, because The Shining has been a part of my life for a while.
He's very much Jack Nicholson's portrayal in The Shining.
Yes, like
not
super
even,
not even in
necessarily Jack Nicholson. But basically what just happened in this scene is we're in the high school cafeteria. Veronica is asked to plagiarize a note to bully a fat girl. What else?
I stan Martha Dumptruck so
Martha
much.
Dumptruck is a queen. As MK was saying throughout the whole scene, Martha is really minding her own business.
She's literally just chilling.
She's literally just chilling, and these people plagiarize a note so that she thinks that the popular jock is in love with her. She brings the note to him and is eventually really embarrassed, which is really sad. And Veronica looks like, oh no, so sad, whatever. But it's like, you did this, bitch.
You did this. Like, deal with your own.
But and MK said...
What'd I say?
You said, like, you did that, though. You just could have not done that. But I think it is very telling of how people act when they're in a group of people and they just go along with something. It's like...
Oh, yeah, when you're
it's
in
like
a
you do things
and when you're in a
that
higher...
you would never think that you were capable of.
Oh, and when you're in a hierarchical structure and it's like you're either, there's a top and there's a bottom, and you're either in the favor of the person who has the power or you're not, you're going to do what it takes to remain in the... I literally sound so fake, deep, and stupid, but, like, that's literally... It's just... But you're gonna do what you want to do to survive.
When
like,
you're in high school, that feels like... I mean, it is your world. It's the end-all, be-all. And if you're in this group of people and they're telling you to do something and it feels like if you don't do it, then you're out... More times than not, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna feel shitty about yourself afterwards,
also,
but you still fucking did it.
Just as an aside, I feel like the writer of this was really, I guess the word would be prescient, or relevant, I don't even fucking know. But
I don't know what prescient means.
I don't know exactly either. Let me look it up right now. I remember this guy who he was like the type of person where when you first meet them, you're like, you know, that's a person. But then...
As you do.
But then the way that they talk or see the things in class, whatever, it's like, oh, this is really cute. He said the word prescient, and I was like, wow. And he didn't even sound pretentious when he said it. Okay, having or showing knowledge of events before they take place. So...
Who do you think is prescient?
Girl, what was I even talking about?
I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. You think the writer was prescient.
Oh, yeah. But what was I talking about the writer doing?
I don't know. You didn't get to that part.
What were you talking about right before?
Oh, how when you're, like, friends with people... You do things that you don't think you would normally do to stay in good grace with them.
Right, okay. So, when you're within a hierarchy... Girl, I lost track of what I was saying exactly, but
that's another thing where if that's what's happening, get out of that friendship.
Oh,
that's not how people...
100%.
That's not how you should feel. That you should not feel like standing up for yourself, putting your foot down, having boundaries should... cost you a friendship. That's never...
And also, I'll say,
respected.
Common misconception is that this dynamic only happens within the popular jock whatever group. This dynamic happens in any scenario.
This can happen when you're not even in high school anymore. This can happen to 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds.
Oh, like, that's the prescient thing. That's what I was thinking of. That's what's fucking prescient. Is that the writer, Dan Waters, was like, yeah, now everything that we watch, even if it doesn't take place in high school, it has a high school dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you look at a doctor show, the entire thing has a high school dynamic. It makes me think of Grey's Anatomy, where it's like, there are the bad boys, there are the popular people, there are the nerds, like... I don't even really watch that show.
There's the girl that's not like other girls.
100%. Everything is high school.
True.
And I don't know if that's... I don't know. I don't know if high school
that is the cliche, almost.
Yeah. That high school never ends.
Yeah, high school never ends, yeah.
Which...
Praying for you if that's the case. High school should very much end.
And for our... Yeah, no. I literally, if you're one of those people... Oh my god, I gave my cousin, my hot girl cousin, who's like, you know, popular, whatever, in high school, a panic attack. Because I said to her jokingly, because she's like, you know, she was saying how, during quarantine, how much she missed school and seeing people every day and talking to people and all of her friends. And I was like, oh, like, haha, do you think you'll be one of those people who, like, when they graduate high school has, like, a huge identity crisis and, like, you know, doesn't know what to do because they, like, peaked at that time? And in retrospect, was that the best thing to say? No.
I think that I had an identity crisis, but I didn't peak in high school. I'm much happier now, but...
Yeah.
I still had an identity crisis.
Oh, yeah. And Ella... we'll bleep that out. Let's call her Helen. Helen freaked out and was like, you're making me panic, MK. Like, shit, is that what's going to happen? And then I was like, no. Like, I know you, and I know you always land on your feet, and you make any situation, like, work for you. For better or fucking worse. Like, I think you know how to deal with people in a way where people...
That gets you what you want.
That gets you what you want, exactly. So, but I was like, I feel bad if I was, like, antagonistic, because you're a literal baby. And honestly, I had a bit of that myself, because in, like, the second half of my high school years, I thought I had it all figured out, because I was hanging out with, like, the artsy DIY kids who had connections to, you know, popular New York bands or whatever. And I thought, okay, cool, I have it all figured out. I have connections, whatever. And then that, of course, falls apart. And I'm better.
You definitely peaked back then.
I definitely peaked. I peaked junior year of high school. No. Absolutely not. Honestly, my peak is forthcoming.
Forthcoming, for sure.
Forthcoming. Do you have anything? What did we not cover anything about the scene? Oh, he fucking fires a gun in the cafeteria with blanks,
so
which is...
we meet JD, and he's eyeing Veronica down, and then they have a little moment, which I'm pretty sure we're gonna include, and then he pulls out a gun on the jocks that come to antagonize him and shoots blanks.
Yeah.
So that's psychopathic.
And it's very, it rings differently, I feel like, in a post-Columbine, you know, all the school shootings we've lived through world. I think in the 80s there wasn't...
That wasn't even...
Like,
that probably wasn't
cultural
even seen
benchmark or
as,
trauma, yeah.
That probably wasn't even seen as, like, a school shooting thing. Like, that was just purely violence. Like, there wasn't this other element of, like, school shooter on top of it.
Right, yeah, no, I don't even know about, like, if any school shootings in the 80s or whatever. Like, it definitely might be a thing, but not that I know of.
I think it definitely was. It's just that Columbine is known for being the
beginning
worst.
Of people, like, and the beginning of people knowing culturally about, like...
Culturally,
yeah, like...
Definitely.
As a, people across the country knowing about school shootings as a thing.
I feel like other things were like, well, I don't know for
there
sure,
definitely,
but it's like,
there definitely were things that happened in the 80s, but I just can't recollect at this moment. I feel like Columbine sort of started an era, though, where it was, people knew about school shootings as a...
Yeah, and there was kind of like, oh my god.
What?
This is sick as fuck, but like, they were the blueprint, you know?
Yo, straight up. Like, and, like, not in a cute or fun way.
Not in a cute or fun way, but it's like, the MO of school shooters was
not
kind of created.
Not the blueprint, the MO, I would say.
Yeah, the blueprint is not...
Like, yeah.
The right word.
And I think also America, because I know we have some international listeners, shout out to Molly, America has a really weird relationship with guns, and I think school shootings kind of reflect that.
Yeah.
But it still breaks my heart because we don't live very far from Sandy Hook. No. And I remember the day that happened, and all of our teachers freaking out because they thought...
I mean, going to a university, like, I'm very aware of when you're constantly seeing school shootings happening on your, you know, they pop up on your Twitter feed and everything, and I go to a university, it's like every time I hear a scream or see someone kind of being sketchy, it's like I'm also have terrible anxiety, so my first thought is like, we're gonna die, and it's a horrible thing to live with.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine actually having gone through it.
Oh my god. But, what's his name? JD. Also, I think it's funny that his name is James Dean.
It's not. It's Jason Dean.
Jason Dean. Sorry. Yeah. Jason Dean. Similar to James Dean, though.
The heartthrob. The heartthrob rebel.
He scares
rebel with
me.
The cause.
I would never be attracted to him. I would just be
He literally
scared of
is
him.
a rebel with the cause. Yeah, he is very terrifying, and everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I hate violent nihilists. It's like, you're just bad. Like, I don't care what philosophy you have behind it. You're just a baddie. Straight up. Like, not in a cute way.
Like, in a bad way.
Yeah. So Veronica is in a convenience. She's like in a 7-Eleven type store to get snacks because her and Heather are about to go to
A Remington party.
a college party, essentially.
College party. And she runs into
JD.
James Dean.
Jason Dean.
Jason Dean. That's
and that's on both kids. And they have mad chemistry. Which is crazy because in real life, Winona Ryder had feelings for Christian Slater.
Slater.
Yeah, but they never really came to fruition or dated. I think they kissed, but yeah. So this is the scene where they're outside the convenience store, chatting, and she's being honest for the first time about her actual feelings about her friend group.
Great bike.
Yeah. Just a humble perk for my dad's construction company. Seen the commercial, right? Bringing every state to a higher state.
Wait a minute. Jason Dean, your pop's Big Bud Dean Construction? It must be rough moving place to place.
Well, everybody's life has got static. Is your life perfect?
Oh, yeah, I'm on my way to a party at Remington University. No, my life's not perfect. I don't really like my friends.
Yeah, I don't really like your friends either.
Well, it's just like there are people I work with and our job is being popular and shit.
Maybe it's time to take a vacation.
So they go to the Remington party.
It's a college party.
It's a college party. There's two boys that they meet up with. I guess they're both kind of sleazy.
Yeah. Heather meets up with this one guy who pressures her into, that's my dog. Pressures
Giving
her.
a blowjob.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem to be.
She doesn't want to do
She's very
it.
much coerced into it.
Yeah.
It's very much the type of thing where you feel like you have to do it. And yeah, it's really sad, honestly. We kind of see how being popular has affected Heather.
It's like Machiavellian, honestly.
MK said it's Machiavellian. I don't know what that means.
Like the Prince by Machiavelli.
I still don't know what that means.
Anyway, sorry. My dog requested to come into my room.
And Veronica does not hook up with her boy. She feels sick and she leaves, and then she throws up in the hallway and Heather laughs at her, and then Heather reams into her. So that's what you're hearing now.
Yeah.
And
Also punctuated, by Veronica's diary entries.
Tomorrow, I'll be kissing her aerobicized ass. But tonight, let me dream of a world without Heather. A world where I am free.
You stupid fuck.
You goddamn bitch.
You were nothing before you met me. You were playing Barbies with Betty Finn. You were a bluebird. You were a brownie. You were a Girl Scout cookie. I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on a hallway carpet. I got paid in puke.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it up.
Monday morning, your history. I'll tell everyone about tonight. Transfer to Washington. Transfer to Jefferson. No one at Westerberg's gonna let you play their reindeer games.
Dreadful etiquette, I apologize.
It's okay.
I saw the croquet set up in the back. You up for a match?
JD and Veronica fuck.
So, Veronica and JD just killed Heather because Veronica was at the party and vommed at the college party, and Heather was like, you're embarrassing and I'm gonna ruin you, like, when we go back to school. And Veronica was probably like, cool, my life is over, whatever. And she was writing
She's also pissed.
She was pissed and writing her diary furiously, like, Heather is the worst person to ever exist.
I want her
and
to die.
She should die. She's just a force of evil, whatever.
So then her and JD hook up.
JD fucking also, not to mention, he, like, climbs through her window, which is, like, creepy in and of itself. Like, if you like the person and they're, like, jump
Don't
through your
climb on
window. Well, no, if you do like someone and they just, like, pop up in your window, then that's romantic, I think, and you're taken with it. But generally, I would say, don't jump up into someone's window. Even if there's a chance that I like you, it's, like, better not, because it'll scare me, and I'll probably be in my pajamas and not be looking cute, and if I like you back, then I'll want to look cute, whatever. I'm getting off topic, but so JD is there, and he's like, want to play croquet, and then it's alluded to that they fuck, and he's like, oh, let's fuck with Heather. And they go to her house. He jokes about, like, giving her a mug full of antifreeze, and
Veronica's like, no,
haha, like thinks he's joking, like, obviously not.
And then she makes a concoction, but then he kisses her, and
he makes a concoction of, like, orange juice and milk, and but then when he's kissing her, switches. Go on, but I want to hear your...
And then he's kissing her, and then she accidentally takes the wrong one, and they give it to Heather, and she drinks it, and then she dies.
She straight up, like, collapses, and, like...
onto a glass table, and it shatters, and it's really dramatic.
And then Veronica freaks the fuck out, because she's like, I just killed my best friend, and JD is trying to console her, like, oh, she was a huge bitch anyway, but it's like, how is that